Right, Danny boy. Now, listen up. It's been a long time since we made the Star Wars ones, the original ones, and these ones are newer films, but older in time than the other one. Does that make sense? So this one's when Anakin Skywalker's a little boy, and these stories tell you how he became a little boy, and then he grew up into a Jedi, and then he became Darth Vader. So are you ready to understand all that? Okay, right. So, what happened ages and ages ago?
It's not Darth Vader when he's a little boy.
He's not Darth Vader yet, no. He's just a little boy, about your age. No, he's older than you. He's about 9 or something, or 10, I don't know. And you're only 5. So, are you ready for the story? Da, 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 da. Right, okay. So, there's at this time there's a big load of people called the Trade Federation, and they're sort of the baddies. They just want loads of money, and they're greedy, and they don't really care about the people, and so they are being horrible to the planet, or to the people on the planet of Naboo. And they want to just cause a big problem. So they're being horrible to the Naboo. But I think Naboo's an alright planet. They're pretty good people. And so the Trade Federation are just like money grabbing people, like Donald Trump. And they're trying to get too much power or something. So anyway, the people of Naboo, or the Senate, who are all the nice people in charge of the galaxy, send some Jedi Knights to go and speak to the Trade Federation and have a word with them and just solve the problem, really, and have a nice chat. So, which Jedis do you think go and have this chat?
Qui-Gon Jinn,
Yeah, and
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah, so they go, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan go down to Naboo and have a chat. And they go to meet the sort of bad guys and have a bit of a talk with them. But the problem is that Darth Sidious, who's the bad one, who's basically the Emperor, is told the Trade Federation people to invade Naboo and take it over. So when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan get down there, they find out that there's a big war about to happen. So they're sort of going, oh no, this is annoying. So they have to leg it out there, and when they get down there, they see this weird sort of thing, this bloke, or like a big creature, and he's got big floppy ears, and he just walks around going, meh. It's a bit silly. And Qui-Gon saves him from getting run over by one of the invading Trade Federation people. And
What, Jar Jar?
yeah, Jar Jar Binks. And
But he doesn't go like that.
oh, sorry, what does he do? What does Jar Jar go like?
I don't know.
Oh well, don't criticise my impression if you can't do a better one, Danny boy.
Well,
What does he sound like? He sort of goes, "We are gonna be alright." I don't know, I can't do it.
hey, don't go like that.
Okay, good. Right, so anyway, Jar Jar takes them to his home, like under the water, where they go swimming, and they, the trade people, the baddies, they capture this lady called Queen Amidala, who must be, I think she's like the leader of Naboo, but they, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, go and rescue Queen Amidala and some of her friends and stuff, and they get out on their spaceship and leg it, and they try to go and tell the authorities, the people in charge of the whole galaxy. They're called the Senate. It's all like the sort of good people, really. But when the Trade Federation are shooting their spaceship on the way out, they destroy it a little bit. And even though R2 does a really good job, I remember in the film he sort of scoots along the wing and tries to fix it while it's all getting broken. And he can't fix it completely, and it does get a bit damaged. So Qui-Gon's like, says, "Oh no, this is annoying. What are we gonna do?" So they have to land on a strange sandy planet that they fly to, because it's just the nearest place to stop. So they land there, and what do you think that planet's called? Oh, it's where Luke lives later. Tatooine, yeah. Good work. What? Yeah, that's right. So, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, they go down to Tatooine, and it's all sandy, and they basically realise that their spaceship is a bit damaged and it needs some spare parts. So Qui-Gon says to Obi-Wan, "Look, you just hang around in the spaceship and look after the Queen, and I will go and see if I can get some bits and bobs and fix the spaceship and sort it out. Okay? So I'll see you later." "Alright, bye," says Obi-Wan. And so Qui-Gon's hanging around the scrapyard looking for some parts for the spaceship, and I think there's this little kid hanging around with blonde hair, and he's a bit annoying, and he's like, "I'm the best, look at a robot I made. He's called C-3PO. He's just some wires at the minute. He's not got any armour or body plates on yet, but he's my robot. Aren't I clever? I made him all by myself." And Qui-Gon's really impressed and goes, yeah, well done, that's really good. And so Qui-Gon also meets... Oh yeah, I forgot. That's a little kid called Anakin. And Anakin lives with his mum on Tatooine, who's... and the bad thing about them, or their situation, is that they're slaves. There's a crazy creature who owns them, and he flies around with wings, and he's a bit annoying. So anyway, Qui-Gon wants some money to buy the parts, but he's forgotten all his cards and all his money and stuff. Probably left it on a different planet where he lives, and so he doesn't know really what to do. But he gets an idea, because I think he sees a poster for a race or something that says pod racing. You can bet on who's going to win. And Anakin says to Qui-Gon, "Hey, I'm really good at pod racing. If you're going to try and have a bet on me, because I'm just awesome." And Qui-Gon, sort of, normally you wouldn't believe a kid saying that, would you? Like, if you said you could win a car race, I wouldn't believe you, because you can't drive yet, you're only a little boy. But Anakin sort of gives Qui-Gon a few clues that he might be some really cool Jedi. I think he catches a bit of fruit that falls off the table or something, does something to show that he's got really quick reflexes. So Qui-Gon thinks, well, if he can catch a bit of fruit, then he must be really good at racing really super fast cars type things. So Qui-Gon's meant to be some sort of really sensible Jedi, but he decides to bet loads of money, and that he hasn't even got, on this pod race, and saying that Anakin will win. But he says to the guy who owns Anakin and his mum, "Well, if Anakin does win, you have to let me take Anakin away with me, so he can go and join my special school that I've got, where we train really cool people to be Jedis." And so the creatures doesn't really mind. He just says, yeah, you won't win anyway, so whatever. Just let's have a race and I'll just have all your money after. But so Qui-Gon sort of says, right, okay, fine, let's do it. And then Anakin wins the race. He drives around, he flies the spaceship, flings it around the corners, and even though the other creatures are quite fast and quite good at it, Anakin's just awesome because he's kind of got really super fast reflexes. He might be a really good Jedi in the future. I guess that's what they're saying. So, and Qui-Gon sort of just senses that he's really good and that he might be this special future Jedi that everyone was looking forward to coming, called the Chosen One, who was going to save everybody and restore some sort of balance to the Force or something. So he wins the race, and Qui-Gon says, right, thanks, we won the race, Anakin can come with me now. Oh, by the way, can his mum come too? Because she's going to miss him otherwise. And the slave owner said, no, she's got to stay with me and be a slave still. You know, we didn't bet on that. That wasn't part of the deal. And I don't know why, but because Qui-Gon is a Jedi, he could easily just say, well, she's coming anyway, and what are you going to do about it? I'm a Jedi. You're going to fight me? Don't think so. But he doesn't, and he just honours the deal, which means that poor Anakin's got to go without his mum and go with the Jedis to go and train to be a Jedi. And so Qui-Gon says, okay, brilliant, let's go. And they put the... And they...
Wait, you had to tell the story.
I am telling a story. I just forgot the next bit. I've just remembered now, though.
I mean the proper one.
This is the proper one.
No, I mean another one.
No, this is the Phantom Menace. It's the first one.
Another one, Phantom Menace.
This is the Phantom Menace.
Well, Phantom Menace, when you was talking last time.
Yeah, but I can't say it exactly the same each time because I forget the general story. I know basically what happened, but I can't say it in the same way. Is that why? Because you remember it differently? Yeah, don't worry about that. I can't remember it the same each time. That's why I'm making a tape of it now, so that you can be the same. So just try and just cope with the difference. I know it's difficult for you. So, Danny, guess what? Qui-Gon's got the bits for the spaceship and they go back and fix it. But guess who turns up to fight him just as they're leaving? They get in the spaceship, they're about to go. Right, let's go. Is everyone on board? Anakin gets on. Who turns up?
I know. A D?
D, yeah.
R?
Yeah.
M?
Yeah. Darth Maul, that's right. So as Qui-Gon's about to get on the ship, Darth Maul turns up on his motorbike, jumps off, has a massive fight with Qui-Gon Jinn. And Qui-Gon's thinking, this guy's really tough, I'm going to lose in a minute. But luckily, Obi-Wan brings the spaceship round and goes, quick, jump in. And Qui-Gon jumps up into the space door and they quickly fly off. And Qui-Gon's on the floor going, whew, that was lucky. He was really strong. He was probably going to beat me if that was getting out of hand, even for a calm Jedi like me. So they decided that they were a bit stressed out. So they went to go and see Yoda and say, I think they went to go and ask him and say, look, who was that bloke? This guy with a red head and horns turned up, and he had 2 lightsabers in one, like one end on each end, and he was really strong. Who was it? Yeah, we know that, but Qui-Gon didn't know who he was at the time. So Yoda, I think, says, yeah, that was Darth Maul. Watch out, because Sith are coming back, and they're dangerous characters. They use the dark side of the Force, which is the bad side that makes you really powerful but also really annoying and horrible. So watch out for him and more people like that. And then Qui-Gon says, right, so we've got this kid. He's brilliant at being good at racing and stuff, and he's got really quick reflexes. I think he might be a Jedi. Well, candidate. He might be a Jedi in the future. And so Qui-Gon does this test on him where he looks at how much of the Force he's got in his blood. And he's off the scale. Anakin's just maybe similar to Yoda, maybe even more than Yoda. I can't remember. But Yoda says, no, we can't train him. He's too old. He's 10. Usually we train Jedis when they're about 6 or something. And Qui-Gon says, oh, please, I went to all this trouble to get him here now. And can't be bothered to take him back. So can we just train him and see how he goes? And Yoda starts to get a bit stressed out because I think he can kind of sense that in the future, there might be a chance that Anakin might turn to the dark side and cause all sorts of mayhem, which we know is now true. It does happen. But so anyway, what happens next? I forgot. Oh yeah. So then, Yoda says, "Okay, yeah, we'll train him, fine." And this guy called Senator Palpatine, who lives in Naboo, I think. He says, right, there's a leader who's not very good, and the Senate isn't really doing much good. They're being a bit of a pain. So, can we vote and I'll look after the Senate? I'll be the senator or something. So, yeah. And then, what happens next? Oh, yeah. The Queen decides to go back to Naboo and try and help what's going on, because the Queen is kind of... Oh, no, I forgot a big important bit. Queen Amidala wasn't really Queen Amidala. This girl who was hanging around with Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff, who was called Padme, she was the real queen, but she didn't tell anybody at the time. But when they get back to the place where all the authorities are, she says, "Look, I'm the queen really, and I'm going back to stop this invasion. So let's go." And so they go in, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan helps as well. And Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan go and fight Darth Maul because they're worried. They think that this Sith Lord's going to get too powerful or something. So they go to look for Darth Maul, and the Queen goes to go and fight all these droid army that's taken over the city. And all these Jar Jar Binks' mates, who are just like him, I think they're called Gungans, they have a big battle against the droids, and there's loads of droids, and they're everywhere. And it looks like they might lose because these droids have all got laser guns and stuff like that. And I'm not even sure that the Jar Jar people have got any weapons. I think they just run around shouting and stuff. So anyway, at the same time as all this is going on, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan find Darth Maul, and they see that he's hiding behind some energy screens, and as they sort of go and pull the levers down to make the screens come down, Darth Maul just runs behind another one, and he plays like a little game where he's trying to get through the different screens. But anyway, it turns out that one of them pops up and separates Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. So Qui-Gon Jinn is fighting Darth Maul, and it's a really intense battle. And Darth Maul ends up winning the battle, and he stabs Qui-Gon Jinn in the stomach with his lightsaber, and Qui-Gon goes, "Oh no, that really hurts, ow," and he lies down on the floor. And Obi-Wan is annoyed with this, and he's trying to control his anger, because he knows that if he gets really angry he might turn to the dark side of the Force, because everyone's always warning you about that happening. And so Obi-Wan ends up, when the screen comes down, he fights Darth Maul, but Darth Maul's still really strong, and he knocks Obi-Wan down this massive hole, and Obi-Wan just about holds on to a lever or something halfway down the hole, and his lightsaber falls onto the top of the floor where Darth Maul is, and Darth Maul's thinking, ha ha ha, I'm just gonna whack him with my lightsaber now and make him fall off and he will die. But Obi-Wan uses the Force brilliantly. He flies up, uses the Force to get his lightsaber into his hand, lands behind Darth Maul, who normally has quick reflexes, but it took him ages to realise what was going on here. And Obi-Wan slices Darth Maul in half at his waist. And Darth Maul's standing there and he goes, uh-oh, realises what's happened, looks really fed up with it. And then he falls down the hole and falls in half and goes into a big fire. And he's gone forever. But Obi-Wan is worried because Qui-Gon Jinn's really badly injured. So he goes over to Qui-Gon and says, "Come on, let's get out of here." And Qui-Gon says, "No, I'm not going to make it. I'm too badly injured. But promise that you'll be the one to train Anakin. He is going to be really brilliant. Just trust me. He's going to be the best Jedi ever. So you can train him because you're all brilliant at being a Jedi now. You're a Jedi Master. Your training's finished. Now you can train Anakin." And Obi-Wan's probably thinking, "Oh, I've only just finished my training. Now I've got to train a 10-year-old kid. This is a bit of a swizz." So anyway, he says his friend's dying, so he agrees to do it and says, "Yeah, okay, I'll do what you say." And then sadly, Qui-Gon Jinn dies, and Obi-Wan goes back. At this point, the droid army is taken over. Loads of Jar Jar's friends as prisoners, and I think winning the battle basically. But Anakin, and I think with some help from R2-D2, nicks a spaceship and flies it and shoots this big control ship that's making all the droids move about. And he blows it up completely and totally destroys it. And all the droids just fall over and die. And all the Jar Jar and his mates are going, "Yeah, we won the battle." And Anakin's just thinking, "Yeah, well, I did this and I'm only 10. So thank me, I'm just the best ever." So he's already starting to get a bit arrogant, even before he's learned how to be a Jedi. So everyone's happy. Apart from Qui-Gon Jinn, he's dead. But Obi-Wan's happy because he won the battle and he's a Jedi now and he's training Anakin. The Queen's happy because her place is peaceful again. And what else happens? Oh yeah, Jar Jar's happy because all of his mates are free on Naboo and they're all chuffed. Obi-Wan's loving it because he gets made to be a full-on Jedi Knight. And Yoda says, "Yeah, okay, you can train Anakin," even though he's a bit stressed out about it. And oh yeah, then final thing is that I think the senator what's his face? Chancellor Palpatine then gets elected to be the senator. And so now he's kind of in charge of Naboo, and he's got lots of power now in the Senate. So that's a little bit of a worry, because some people are stressing out a little bit because they think, well, we don't really know, this guy looks a bit dodgy. So are we worried about Chancellor Palpatine being the senator? Do we think he's going to be good or bad?
I know.
What?
Big.
Is he going to be good or bad, though?
Bad.
Bad? How do you know that? Who does Chancellor Palpatine become? Who is he really? Do you know? He is, yeah. He might be the Emperor one day of the Empire if all this doesn't work out. But anyway, that's the end of that film, and it goes da 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 da, and that's the end. And another time, I'll tell you what happens next when there's a big clone army that attacks. Okay? But that's the end of that one. So I'll see you in the morning light. You gotta go to sleep now, little boy. Do you like that story? Cool. Right, I'll see you in the morning light. Lie down. I love you.
Dada,
Yeah.
you can have
Another one. No, that's the end for tonight. Have another one. Not another Phantom Menace. That's the end of the Phantom Menace.